What is going on?
Yo, what up?
Hey, Pacers are for real.
Pacers are for real. And as basketball fans, that's great for us. I think, and we've talked about it for the NBA as a entity. That is terrible for them. Like who? Nobody knows anybody on Indiana's team if you're not a Pacers fan, an avid NBA watcher. Um, People will know like onesie twosies. Like if you're a University of Texas fan, you'll know Miles Turner, or if you're a Toronto Raptors fan, you'll know Siakam. People who follow basketball will know Halliburton, and then maybe even from the Olympics. Uh, and Iowa State fans are probably tuning in, but you don't want if you're the NBA, you don't want Indiana winning over New York, the biggest city in the country. As we talked about, because revenue hurts for them. So uh, I love it though. Throw a wrench in it. Um, and then since I recruited out of Indiana, um, got a little bit of love for the Pacers. And then I used to really like Paul George, so it's cool. It's cool to see small markets thriving, man. A potential OKC versus Indiana finals matchup is not front page material, but I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I think like you said, true NBA fans, if you want a good like legit potential 6 7 game series, you want the Pacers and OKC because that's going to be good basketball. But yeah, it's not good for the NBA. It's not good for NBA market. Like you mentioned before, like the NBA would have loved to push Ant um, in the finals, like next face of the league type thing. And the Knicks is what it is. You may mention that they don't necessarily want to push Brunson. Brunson and Shea, who we'll talk about in a little bit. Get bad raps for the way they play the game and their foul baiting and whatnot. But yeah, OKC Indiana, like I said, it'll be a good ball, but definitely not big for the market. Which is funny because like Indiana, that's a basketball town. It's basketball and racing. It wasn't until like Peyton got there they became like a football town. But yeah, the market of itself is not considered on the bigger end like you know legacy Celtics,
Yeah,
Knicks, Lakers, those sort of. But I mean, you
it's a
talk about
great sports town. Like don't like great fan base and all that, but it's just a small. And same with Oklahoma City as we see. But Colts fans
yeah,
are they love their Colts. Um, Pacers fans definitely love their Pacers. Shoot, Indy 11 fans, they're I don't know what the equivalent is, but like their double A soccer team, they they have a good fan base. So it's an awesome sports town. It's just a small market, and so you're not bringing in you're just not bringing in as many fans buying apparel, buying Eastern Conference champions shirts, buying NBA champion shirts and jerseys and all that. Whereas with New York, you got a city of I have no idea 100 million people, or obviously that's an exaggeration, but a lot
yeah, yeah.
a lot of people buying stuff, so the NBA makes more money. So that's really
And
the
that,
issue with small markets. It's not that their fan bases aren't legit fan bases. It's just not as many people uh, to reach out to.
yeah, I listened to Q Rich talk about the Knicks, and obviously, like he played for them for a couple of years, 4 or 5 years, and he was talking about how like it's obviously it's a global market. It's like the Yankees, it's but he was like it's even the Lakers, the Celtics. He's like, but it's different because the Lakers, in LA you have the Lakers and the Clippers. Obviously, Lakers are the bigger market, but you still have two teams. In New York, talk about baseball, you got the Yankees, the Mets, and he was like for basketball, yeah, Brooklyn's there now, but they're still kind of a Jersey team legacy, the New Jersey Nets. Like for basketball, you got the Knicks. Like everybody in New York proper like loves the Knicks. So there's no competition between multiple teams in the same sport, like that you'd have with the Jets and the Giants with football. So, but I mean, it's going to be this would be colossal collapse. So OKC. Now the only difference is OKC got their 2 wins at home. So now you see how Minnesota can play.
Yeah.
At home. I was interested to see in that game was OKC's defense gonna the reason why Ant played shitty in the first game, or was he just off? And he came out clearly he was just off. You're not gonna keep him down, but he had no help, right? It's like he didn't have somebody that was gonna step up. And then the same kind of thing for the Knicks is like you got Brunson, you got Cat, which Karl-Anthony Towns sitting on the bench most of the fourth quarter. I think
that was weird. That was weird.
Yeah, 25, 28 minutes. That was interesting. I don't know if it has anything to do with kind of the reaction. I don't know if you saw the reaction between Cat and OG at the end of game one when they were on the bench. They're kind of going after it. So I don't know if there's a locker room mess there but I mean.
Now is not the time to send a message if you're a coach to me.
Yeah, so I was just about to bring it up. Like, not necessarily sending the message thing, but like, this is what you get from Thibodeau, right? I mean, this is his MO. He can get to the finals. He get to these conference finals. He just the way he plays and his, he's not going to go deep. His guys are going to get beat up. You see at the end of the game, like Brunson came out in rhythm, and then by the end of the game, he's just on gas. He's on E.
Yeah, he's
gas
smoked.
tank's empty.
Yeah,
legs are heavy, and if you're not getting what was different in the Celtics games. That the X factor was Mikal Bridges. Like his 2-point game, he was able to carry that team in the fourth quarter, give Brunson some minutes or some some rest, so he would come in fresh late in the fourth, and that's just not happened this series. But you got to get the Pacers going into MSG and getting 2 wins. That first one in just an epic fashion, like historic type fashion, and then this one, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for the Knicks. That being said, I think the Knicks record on the road in the playoff is like 5-1 so far. So
yes,
Pacers can't sleep on them going home. But I guess the last thing I'll say about similar to OKC, that environment in Indianapolis is like electric. Like that, they have an extreme home court advantage, just like OKC does.
Yeah. So how do you think the Knicks feel about the Bridges trade, right? Because his year and a half or whatever where he was with Brooklyn, he was giving them 25 a game, 27 a game, still being a defensive guy. And so that's my assumption is that they thought they would at least be able to get 19 to 22 a game from him and still be a lockdown guy. And he's still giving you that effort defensively, and he's got his moments, but he's not been the consistent number 2. And I think that's why they felt compelled to go get Cat. But they gave up a haul to get Bridges, and I don't know. We can let it play out, but right now it does not look like it was worth it.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't know. I couldn't talk to. He had good, like statistically, or like his numbers. His box score was good. How many minutes? How many shots did it take for him to get that? I don't know. So maybe it's he didn't adapt to the role very well. Because when Brooklyn cleaned shop and Kyrie left and Durant left, like he was left to be the dude, right?
Yeah, he went from role player in Phoenix to the guy in Brooklyn, and then now you got to go back to kind of being a role player. And yeah, maybe it took more adjustment than you realize. I don't know.
Yeah, if you need 20, 25 shots a game, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's still an asset, and if I'm any team, I would want a Mikal Bridges on my team. I think they gave up a lot to get him.
And I think his play nowadays isn't appreciated as much because he's not stretching the floor really, but he can get to a spot on the elbow. You gotta, he's long. He's not the same player, but watching him play reminds me of like a Rip Hamilton with the Pistons, right? Like, that mid-range game was just automatic. Like he was going to get to the elbow, that little 12 to 15 foot jumper just seemed like if it was out of his hands, it was going in.
Yeah, Rip was automatic, but they ran plays for Rip, right? I mean, it seemed like to me all of Detroit's plays ran through Rip. Like he would just run baseline to baseline off the screen, one side to the other. So that's kind of the difference. Bridges to me is more almost they run a couple sets for him, but kind of like Pascal Siakam, right? They don't run any sets for him, and he just kind of finds a way to make an impact, and it's kind of what Mikal Bridges has to do now. and that may be where he's struggling. The fact that the offense is not going through him and he's having to find his shot as opposed to having it kind of created for him.
Yeah, I mean, I put the tweet out there after this game. The difference in like Carlisle running sets and like running plays and like no kidding trying to get the best shot available and letting his point guard do work won them these last two games. And Thibodeau just kind of staying on the sidelines and just letting them, go ISO ball through Brunson, lost them games. And I get it, you have the most clutch player in the league this year, blah blah blah. But they're not running anything for Cat. It's just hey, let Cat get his when it comes to him. They can get a mismatch. And yeah, Brunson can create. You saw the dime he sent into that game to Hart. But it's Thibodeau's just not running. He's not like running sets. He's just letting his guys do his thing, right? Especially late in the game. That last shot he took from like 28 feet. The Brunson took from you leave a timeout in the pocket when you know that you should at least try to extend that game, in my opinion, to force them, make a free throw, kind of flip the script that they gave to you late in game one.
Yeah, and I think Stan Van Gundy mentioned he was like maybe he thought they were going to intentionally foul him, and he was trying to go ahead and tie the game up. But what does this do? Like Rick Carlisle is clearly out coaching Thibodeau. So what does this do for his legacy of a two-time champion coach, two different organizations? I mean, clearly elevates him, but I don't know how high. I mean, I've always heard him regarded as a great coach, but it obviously doesn't put him in all-time great type status, but his name's got to get a little bit more respect on it, I would think.
I think like you mentioned, unless you're like a true NBA fan or really, really enjoy like elite level basketball and the coaching and the gamesmanship and matchups, you won't necessarily appreciate OKC versus the Pacers if that's how it winds up. Similar to Rick Carlisle, like he's got championships, but maybe not appreciated like he should. You look at, like Greg Popovich with the Spurs, like great coach, multiple time champion. But then you got Doc Rivers, who won a championship with the Celtics, and everywhere he's been since then has kind of been a bust. But I think the if you're not really paying attention, say Rick Carlisle gets the finals, gets another chip, I think people would still say, well, Doc Rivers.
Not sure what happened. Having some technical difficulties here.
Oh, we're back. Dadgum. Wi-Fi. Well, let me get T back in here. But yeah, that's gonna be interesting. Interesting way it plays out. We were talking about coaching. Oh, there he is. I think that was on me. I think the Wi-Fi crashed for a minute. Yeah, I was there. I was sitting there talking, and I saw you froze. I'm like, dang, we lost. I think we lost T, and then I'm looking on the phone like, oh no, I'm out.
All right, cool. I'll take it.
But
not my fault.
Yeah. But you agree with the Doc Rivers assessment? Like, big name coaches like that potentially get more clout than they should.
Oh, he definitely does. I have been off the Doc Rivers. Once he couldn't get it done with the Clippers, I've been off the Doc Rivers train. Like everywhere he goes, he has crazy talent, and he can't make it happen. So he's He's an overrated coach in my opinion. Now, listening to some of the stories from guys, he's got some pretty good interpersonal skills, but like he knows how to manage egos and superstars and all that. But I wouldn't hire him if I'm expecting a championship. If I'm a franchise, he's severely overrated, and I think someone like Rick Carlisle is severely underrated. Doc Rivers' one championship was with four Hall of Famers on his team because Rondo should absolutely be a Hall of Famer in my opinion. I don't know if he will, but he's one of my favorite point guards of all time, even though he went to Kentucky. Um, and then one of the three best shooting guards of all time, four best shooting guards of all time, depending on how you want to rank it. Um, with Ray Allen, an all-time great small forward, and Paul Pierce going toe to toe with people like LeBron and all that, and then KG. So I could have won a championship with that squad as the coach, But then you go to LA and you can't win with Blake Griffin in his prime, DeAndre Jordan in his prime, Chris Paul in his prime, a strong shooting guard in JJ Redick and all those guys. Can't get it done up in Milwaukee and what was his other stint in Philly? Like,
Yeah.
But then Rick Carlisle does it with Dirk and, um, you know, a super old J Kidd, and who is also one of my favorite point guards, but he was super old. Like he did it with a way less stacked team against an insanely stacked team in Miami. So coaching still matters, and yes, dudes are still over and underrated, I think.
Yeah, man. Well, talk about Kentucky point guards. Well, let me ask you this: can you give an honest assessment about Shai, even though he went to Kentucky? Because I'm curious on how you feel about his play, and him winning the MVP. A lot of hate that he's getting on the internet based off free throw merchant, I think is what they're calling him.
So initially the free throw thing bothered me with him as well, but the more I've watched him, I'm less bothered by it because the way he does it, it's a skill. Like to me, he is less, not that he doesn't do it, but he's less a foul baiter than Brunson is. He just puts people in a position where they foul him, right? Like Brunson does all the head flopping and like the harden trap people's arms and make it smack him in the face and stuff, which is a skill also, but I'm not a fan of it. Shai just puts people in a dilemma and they can't help but foul him. And then he allows them to foul him too. He could maneuver himself to avoid the foul, but he's not foul baiting. So I think it's just insanely skilled. I love his change of pace. I love how his team loves him. I love how his game has continually elevated since he's been in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people who send the hate to him are just people whose teams have been decimated by him. Um, I I don't know. He's just showing too much talent, and then to be able to win the MVP as a guard in this game of 3-point shooting, where that is not where he makes his money. Uh, to me, you got to appreciate it. So
yeah. I
again,
think you got to give him
he's
credit
Kentucky
for.
alum, but he's not a Kentucky player right now. So I can show him some love.
Fair enough. But yeah, I mean, like you said, like he puts defenders in a dilemma where it makes you play undisciplined. Like if you're gonna put his hands on him, you're gonna try to hand check him. He's gonna make you pay for it. He's quick and like you shot the text in the group chat. Like quickly he got in Minnesota's head in game two. And when these guys are looking at the opposing teams looking at the ref or getting all frustrated or whatnot, like don't foul him. Don't even give him the opportunity, right? But then, like you said, he's skilled enough where if you don't, he's just going to cut through you. Now, I mean,
Right.
yes,
He'll just
there
go
are
for
definitely
it.
clips on the internet of him, of him, falling down, not being touched. But I think you're just ridiculous if you don't say that's the NBA nowadays. Like that's just
Yeah.
what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, that's just
I
kind of
think
how we're
LeBron is a
doing. You
prime
get touched.
example. LeBron is a prime example, right? Like he flops just as much, if not more than anybody. But back in '03, through I don't know, probably once he got to Miami. But he was a freight train on his fast breaks, and nobody could do anything with him. And so they would literally clothesline him, body slam him, all that, and he would play through it. And then as the game uh, has evolved. Now you don't even have to touch him, and he'll go flying into the third row. So yeah, that is definitely the game now. Dudes do it because it's effective. I can't stand it, and I remember the NBA tried to curb it because they started fining people for flopping because
Yeah.
Dwayne Wade had gotten really bad at it, and I wish they kept doing that. But yeah, that's just the game now. So you have to use it to your advantage because it's there. Um, but yeah, I don't think Shea is a foul baiter. I think that's different. I think Harden was a foul baiter in Houston. I think Brunson is now. I think Shea is a little different than that.
Yeah, so I mean, you see before we close out in the NBA playoffs, you see any shot of the Knicks or Minnesota, especially against this OKC team, best in the league, coming back, both being down 0-2.
You pointed it out. I mean, OKC hasn't. They haven't done anything abnormal yet. They held pat. They won their two home games. So you got to see what Minnesota does. Um, can they win their two home games? And then, if everybody just wins at home, then we get all the way to a game seven. I don't know if they'll win or not, but I just give me a game seven. The Knicks, though, they seem like they're toast to me. It just seems like Indiana has their number. This game, kind of a better game, but to be up and as comfortably winning as the Knicks were in game one and to still lose it, yeah, just Indiana's rolling. I think the Knicks are smoked. Uh, Probably a gentleman's sweep, but I'm hoping we get at least to a game seven with the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, I put out a tweet. I don't see the OKC Minnesota series getting past 5 games. To be honest, like
No,
they might get one at home. Yeah, I think that the way OKC is impressive, where it's like they almost lull you to sleep because in both of those games in the third quarter, Minnesota's in the game, like they're in it, and then all of a sudden it's like whether it's just bad plays, bad shots being taken, but they create turnovers and then they could go on a 12-0, 14-0 run on you like in a quickness just by stepping their defense up and getting into transition and that just that what that does when you're at home is get that Thunder crowd just losing its mind, and then if you're away and can do that, now you got everybody in Minnesota just sitting on the seats, and just silent. But Anthony Edwards is too good to not at least win one of those games at home, and he's good enough to maybe even get both of them. I just don't know if he has the support. Julius Randle's got to step up, and you got to have someone like Naz Reid, or even get like one of the crazy games that you got out of Rudy Gobert in the last round, which is probably unlikely. But
yeah,
somebody's
that
got to
won't
step
happen.
up.
Yeah, it won't be Rudy because OKC has the size to bother Rudy like the Lakers didn't. But at home, like you said, Naz Reid, like one of those crazy games he had against the Lakers, even though that was on the road. But yeah, let me get something from Naz Reid. Let me get a little bit more for DiVincenzo. And then at home, then you can also look for Jaden McDaniels to maybe hit a couple more shots. And then Nickeil Alexander Walker actually played pretty well. But yeah, if you don't necessarily need one person to go bonkers, but if a couple of your others can give you 7, 8, 9 more points each, instead of them going crazy, then now you're in it. And then yeah, you do need Julius Randle to be a number two though. He's got to be your number two.
Yeah. And it can't be just be in halves. Like both games, he comes out. I think he's got 20 in the first. I think it was at least the last game had 20 in the first half, and then just kind of dies in the second half.
Yeah.
But again, that's just the OKC just being able to, I think, just figures out on defense, or they just like it's like a flip, they switch, or
that's correct.
And it's like okay, yeah. It's just like
you said it right.
yeah. I was like, it didn't sound right. But and then they're like, or it's they have a couple plays and it's just has an effect on the other team.
OKC has more muscle. That's
yeah.
the thing. Like Julius Randle is skilled, but he is just stronger than like everybody in the league except Lou Dort, and that's who OKC has. So I think that's kind of bothering him too. He can still do a little bit from the perimeter, but he can make a little bit happen down low, and he's having a hard time doing that against OKC.
And we've definitely messed up talking OKC all this time and not mentioning Caruso. Like what that dude does for that team, not like box score. If he gives you 12 a game, you're like, holy shit, that's massive. But just,
Yeah.
I mean, defensively, what he can do, especially against Denver, especially in Game 7. But just
Yeah, that was insane. To
he's
lock up Joker
yeah.
and be 100 pounds lighter and 7 inches shorter or whatever. Yeah, I love Caruso, man. Even my wife is a Caruso fan. She don't even like basketball, and she remembers him from the bubble.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right.
Now to be fair, he was fouling Joker every single time. But if they're not going to call it, and most time they don't when those smaller guys aren't, like I mean, he was harassing Joker, but again, they're not calling it, and he's got 5 to burn before he gets to 6 when he's out. So it's like, why not? You might as well body him up as much as you can, get in his mind and wear him down a little bit.
I love it because Joker fouls so much. Like he is always pushing people and all that, and it never gets called. So yeah, look, I got no hate on Joker, but he fouls all the time. So hey, you getting it served back to you.
I thought it was going to be OKC in the championship game. I didn't, I definitely did not see the Pacers getting this far. The Celtics and the Cavs just seem to be clearly that much better than the regular season. But the Pacers, we talked about this last show, kind of got slept on because of the way they got swept by the Celtics last year. But if you actually remember those games, they should have won, just like they won against the Knicks at home. Like they should have won those games and they found a way to lose. Now they're finding ways to win. That experience has seemed to kind of pay off. And with Shea and Kaysen on OKC, I think I should want to cheer for OKC. But it's going to be tough not to root for that Pacers team, man. Like it's just the way they play, like Halliburton. He's just everybody's. It's just I don't know. I'll have to make my decision once the actual final start. But right now, I find it hard not to. Like even with Cat in New York, like I'm cheering for the Pacers to win, man. They're fun to root for.
They are fun to root for. It's kind of like that Detroit Pistons, the 04 team, right? Like no superstars really on the team, just a really well put together team. They all play well. They play well together. They don't care about who shines, any of that kind of stuff. It kind of reminds me of that. Not necessarily like the construction of the team being like the same type format, but just a team with no superstars. But somehow,
and really both teams. I mean, you have MVP and Shea, but like he wouldn't expect to be that dude. I mean, when he got, I think that's the cool thing about Shea is he was on that team and stuck with them when they were a 24-win team, and now they're the best team in the league. So that's kind of cool. That doesn't really happen anymore. With these dudes trying to go to the big time markets. But for real this time, before we close this out, OKC's front office and like the GM and the president, all the player of operations, or like all that stuff is the same since the Durant, Westbrook.
Yes. It's still Sam Presti.
Harden.
Yep, still Sam Presti.
I mean, he's got. I mean, like you got to talk about him too as being like fucking good at his job because I mean,
he's the best GM in the league.
Yeah. I mean, now it took a while to build that up. But I mean, it stinks that he couldn't do it with, with Kevin Durant. But I guess they potentially could have tried to pay the tax and keep 2 of them. They decided to keep Westbrook. KD leaves, Harden leaves, but
they traded Harden.
Whole rebuild.
I thought they traded Harden.
I'm sorry.
He was like a cap. Harden was a cap casualty.
Yeah,
but
he was 6th man in the league, and then he got traded, right?
Yeah, and then he took over. Yeah. So, but you're right. I mean, he built it. He built I mean, I guess you can't say a winner, but he built a winner in Oklahoma City with the Durant and Westbrook. They just couldn't quite get over the hump. But their time wasn't up either. Durant bailed on them. He left to go join Golden State. Who knows what would happen?
They were up 3-1 in the series, and then they end up losing. Then he goes to, and then the cupcake memes come out. Oh yeah, I'm remembering all this stuff now.
Yeah. So I think Presti did it, but hey, whatever. Durant leaves, and Presti's like, okay, let's rebuild. So it took a couple years, but he gets this, just this treasure trove of picks that he still has, and he's already built a contender. So now, if for some reason they don't leave, he can find out what it is. What's this one piece that we're missing? And then he's got 18 million first round picks that he can trade to get whoever it is that
Yeah.
he needs to get. So no, he's by far to me the best GM in the league.
Yeah, definitely can scout out talent for sure
Yeah.
and build talent from within. All right, now about the NBA playoffs, college football playoff. You saw the rule change.
Yep. Yep. Straight
How
seating.
you feel about it?
I'm fine with that, and I would have liked to have seen it before I even knew like that Tennessee was going to have to play Ohio State or whatever. That's how we all wanted it. Um, and like Tennessee fans are hot. They're like, "See, we got shafted, and we should have had a home game against SMU." Look, the playoff format was new, so there's going to be some bumps and bruises when you're trying to figure out the best way to get it through. So I can't be mad at how it went last year, but I'm glad they're adapting and evolving. I think that's the better way to do it. I'm about the straight seating.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean it's the way top four teams get the top four seeds. I think there's there. I wish they would have taken more time because they're already talking about like next year and more rule changes.
Yeah.
They're talking about they don't want because right now there's still going to be this hanging thing out there where conference champions or conference championship games potentially will hurt you in the playoffs because if you get to conference championship and you lose, how does that how does that end up seeding you? So they're talking about getting in automatic qualifiers and how many the SEC and the Big Ten will have. But one thing I was talking, Heather Dinich, it's her. I think her name is first name's Heather. I know her last
It
name is
is.
Dinich.
No, yeah,
Yeah,
it's Heather
so
Dinich.
she broke the news and then she was talking more about it. And I think a big part of the negotiation this year was making sure. I didn't know that to get into the playoff, if you're one of the top 12 teams, you get 4 million
You
for your
didn't
school. That
you
department.
didn't know that?
No, I did
Because
not. Not until she.
they had all kind of stuff out there talking about how much money Notre Dame made because they didn't have to share with the conference and all that.
That's what I was just getting at. That's what I was getting. So
Yeah.
like it was unclear. I guess each conference because they with the revenue sharing how that money gets distributed. And then she said that Notre Dame because they're not in the conference made $20 million.
Making it to
That's
the
going.
national
Yeah,
championship.
that is wild, man. And I guess I don't know. And she said that it goes back to the athletic department, but essentially they decide now. There's all a bunch of bills they got to pay and facilities and blah blah blah. But it sounded like you could just take a big chunk of that money and be like, until the 20.5 million cap rule ends up getting like throw that right into your NIL budget, or at least a good majority of it. And now you just like truly paying to play. Like, hey, we got 20 M's to play with now, plus the donor money. And from being up there, Notre Dame's got dudes who got bunches and bunches of money. I did not. That was something that I completely missed. I had no idea that was a thing where you got 4 million for each round.
Yeah, they
And
got
I guess
dudes
that
with a
was
bunch of money, and then they just got a crazy fan base as well. So even the fans without money are gonna. If I got $10 in my name, Notre Dame is getting two of it. If I'm a Notre Dame fan, Like,
yeah,
so yeah,
yeah,
they definitely got everything that they need to work with. And while we were on recruiting, they were building their new football facility. So I think our last year they had completed it. I got to look inside it. I didn't get like a tour, but I got to poke my head in there. I'm gonna look at the football facility. So yeah,
oh yeah,
they got everything they need. They got the budget. They got the facilities. They have a terrible location because South Bend, Indiana, is a terrible place, but they got everything they need. So I expect to see Notre Dame in the playoffs pretty much year in, year out. For the next few years.
yeah. Good coach, legacy name, big program, and then yeah. I mean, you see why. Like I guess there's always a push. Is there a basketball team in the ACC officially?
Yes.
Yeah, right. But
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if I can separate like that, and collect a bunch of money, it's kind of like the Big East and not having football. Like the majority of their NIL is going to basketball, right? So they don't have to worry about splitting it. It's kind of the same thing with Notre Dame. And if I don't got to go to, especially like their TV deals and whatnot, they're collecting all that money. It's a massive advantage right now in the NIL world. How do you feel about the talks of extending the playoff to 14 or 16 in 27.
I'm not a fan of that because look, in the
Nope, me
end,
neither.
just like with March Madness, they want to expand it. It doesn't matter how many teams you put it to, somebody is always going to feel shafted. So
Yep.
you cannot expand it enough, for everybody to feel like everybody is in who's supposed to be, and there's nobody who got cheated. Like there's always going to be a team like that. So I think 12 is a good number. Um, but everything's a money grab, and more games, more TV, more contracts, and all that.
Yeah.
But if you start making the playoff too big, like then even those first round games don't even matter. Besides for um, those schools' fan bases.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's what I'm saying. If the new seeding rule gives us some competitive games in the first couple rounds, then sure, let's maybe extend it. But I mean, the way it was last year, those first games were, I mean, they weren't good. They were all blowouts. Like they
Yeah.
were just complete. Like they weren't fun to watch. Like by the fourth quarter, you're like, all right, let me find something else to put on. Um, but uh, unless you were hate watching Tennessee, which then you just watch the whole thing and
Yeah,
you got some enjoyment out of it.
yeah. I don't even think I finished the game. If I remember, I was like, all right, I'm done with this. But it's not basketball. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't need to be playing 300 games. Like the football
Yeah,
is just, and I understand that 18 games are played in the NFL, but this is not the NFL. Um, it's the next closest thing, but it's still not the NFL, and there's a pretty significant difference. So we can't be throwing 400 games out here, man. It's just
yeah,
that's too much to
and
me.
just look at the product. Look at the product. Like college football is one of the greatest things on TV when it's on. Like in the fall, like college. So like if it ain't broke, don't break it. Like it's
Right,
like the playoff. I
right.
think makes sense. I think the playoff makes sense, but like you got a great thing. You got a great thing right now. Like don't same like you mentioned March Madness. Like you don't need to extend the field. It's already the greatest spectacle in sports. Like everybody tunes into March Madness because of what is the potential of could happen. Don't fuck with it.
Yep.
Um, but so yeah, leave it at 12. Let's see how it goes. But like you said, it's eventually going to expand because it is a money thing and TV deals and you know um, Amazon Prime's going to get involved and they're going to do exclusive games and YouTube's going to do exclusive games and it's just what's going to happen because of
That's the other thing, man. Like how do you even be a viewer anymore? Because everything is, you got to have a certain package to
yeah.
watch it, and all that. Unless you're,
But they know
those.
we'll do it. Like I will have an
Yeah,
Amazon account, I will have a YouTube account, I will have a Peacock account, I will do all the fucking things to watch football if I have to, right? It's like if the product is good, and but that's what they got. It's like the NFL, like with the Amazon Prime thing on Thursday. Like, I think most people in the world have Amazon Prime by now.
yeah.
But even the few that didn't, the old heads that were holding out was like, well, shit, got to do it if I want to watch my
Only
team
way
on
I can watch
Thursday.
the game. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. So like
Exactly.
you're gonna do it. Um, but yeah, so I think that was all for college football. NFL football rules. Me personally, I'm glad I didn't get rid of the tush push. I thought that would have been a super weak move to get rid of it just because one team is dominant and nobody else can figure it out. Like, sorry, that's football. Take the advantage
One
and
hundred
I know you're
percent.
getting I know you're getting your ass beat in Philly. If you're in Philly, it's 1st and 9 every single time they got the ball because if they get to 4th and 1, they're going to get the first down at a I think 87% clip or maybe even higher.
Yeah, I thought it was
Um,
like
but
92.
just yeah, maybe. But like you got to do Buffalo for example. Josh Allen is a big old son of a bitch, right? Strong, athletic. Their hit rate on the tush push is like 64%. So like you got a dude who and a team that should be able to do it. Philly clearly got it figured out. I thought it would have been a super weak move for them to get rid of it. I'm glad those 10 teams decided to vote against get rid of it, and I think it'll probably eventually go away. But I think what ended up killing the NFL, the teams that wanted to get rid of it, I think they thought adding the push and pull on any play, like the scrums that happen, we get hung up and you see the lineman come in and push it. They try to get rid of all that. And that's just a cool ass, like that's a fun part of sports where like
Yes.
dude gets held up and you see the running back up in the air getting kind of pushed around and shit.
Yep.
Like that's just fun. So like
Yes.
if you're gonna get rid of that too, like now, so I think that ended up burning them in the long run. But I do think there will eventually be a competitive advantage kind of piece of it, and they'll get rid of it. But I'm glad it's at least pushed back for a year.
But there's nothing unethical, immoral, or anything. Like, I don't care if it's a competitive event. It's because they're better at it. Like you said, that it's not a play that's unique to them. Anybody can run it. We saw other teams try. Just because they're better at it than you, like that reasoning makes no sense, and that's super weak. Like, you're supposed to be the creme de la creme of competition, but just because somebody's having some success with something, you want to get rid of it. That is not what competition is. Sorry, coaches, this is why you're paid millions and millions and millions of dollars. Come up with something to stop it. Or this is why you get an Aaron Donald. This is why you get an Ndamukong Suh or Chris Jones,
Christian
whoever. Yeah, Christian Wilkins. Yeah. And these type of guys, like, this is why they need to exist. And so, yeah, and I think the NFL will catch up. They always do. Just like when Ronnie Brown and them were doing the Wildcat, it was kind of taking the league by storm, and it worked. And then the league figured it out, right? So it's going to be. I think coaches are probably on their whiteboards all day. Matter of fact, I'm about to ask Bea all day, every day, like trying to figure out what are we going to do to stop this tush push. So they need to, hunker down and figure it out.
Yeah. Or if you're gonna if they're gonna don't get rid of it, just like change the rule. Like maybe instead of having two players push both cheeks, like both of Hurts ass cheeks get pushed, maybe just you get one cheek. You only can touch one cheek. I don't
know what the play alone. Leave the play. Leave the play alone. Can you imagine having to go to replay to see how many cheeks got touched?
Yeah. But Jalen Hurts again would have an advantage. He's got some cakes on him, so like his cheek ratio is bigger than most,
More surface area to put.
Oh shit. All right, so last NFL rule that I think really is important. They did an onside kick rule. Who cares? No one's going to be able to get one anyways. Olympic flag football. NFL players are being allowed to play in the Olympics. Thumbs up, thumbs down. What do you think?
I'm fine with it. Just make sure there's a tryout, because there's a whole flag football professional league or whatever. So let everybody get their shot at it, and sure, open the pool to the NFL players. It is a different game, though. I still think they'll be better than the professional flag footballers. But I got no issue with it. Just make sure the flag footballers get their fair shot at it, and go for it.
I agree. As long as the dudes are, I know it's the Pro Bowl, but like my only example of NFL players playing flag football is the Pro Bowl, and they just kind of gaff it off. It's a fun thing. They just kind of way to go to Orlando. So if they're gonna be like hearing Justin Jefferson talk about it was cool. He was like, "This is a dream. Like obviously I want to get a gold medal for USA. Like this is something I want to do." So that was cool. I think right now the rule is one per team. But that's for each country. So like if you have someone who is from a different country could potentially play for you look at me like I'm funny. Is that
no? I'm waiting for you to clarify, because I don't know what that means. One per team.
Yeah. So I think like if like for Minnesota, for example, like Justin Jefferson, if he wants to play and goes and maybe there's a tryout or whatever, like they can't also have Addison go play for the team or something like that. It's got to be they.
One per NFL team on the Olympic team. Okay.
Yes.
So like T. Higgins and Jamar Chase couldn't go be the receivers.
Right. I got you. And so like there's that thing. Now all that being said, when the whole flag football thing coming to the Olympics in LA happened, like for me, I'm like, damn, I wish I was born 10 years older or 10 years early or later, right? Because I would be like, I would have been going out there trying to get my shot. And then if I'm one of those guys who just heard the NFL players could get. I'm like, son of a bitch, I lost my shot.
Oh yeah,
Damn it.
Yeah, I took a whole different path to stay away from these NFL guys, and I think that's why some of the flag football dudes are salty, right? Because they're like, no, this is our lane. How y'all gonna let the NFL guys come in?
Yeah.
What I think will be interesting is how you see some NFL guys go and play for other countries that they have some lineage in. Like would Kyler Murray go play for Korea? Like I think that would be cool. I think that'd be cool to see. What
yeah, he'd have to get like citizenship or something like that, right? Like in it, or
You don't have, at least with the basketball guys. I don't. Sometimes they're dual citizens, but usually they just have like a link. Like my mom is Filipino or my grandma is Filipino or whatever, and I think they just communicate with the country, and as long as the country says, "Yeah, let's do it," then they can.
But I also think like if most of these countries aren't. Football isn't their sport, so if you have an NFL player like, "Hey, I want to come play for you," they probably figure it out. Like, yeah, we'll figure out how to.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Kyler Murray always has, because I'm a Cardinals fan, so he's who I have to watch. He always has his U.S. and Korea flag on his helmet. So,
why you hate on Kyler Murray, man?
I'm not a Kyler Murray fan. I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not a fan either.
They didn't do it for me.
Yeah.
So that'd be cool to see.
I think y'all think I'm joking, like when I talk about it. I just might have to just go ahead and forget about like the last, 30 years of my life, or 25 years of my life, and just go be a Bills fan. They got all these Kentucky dudes out on the team. I know it's in the conference.
You cannot switch in division.
I might just have to do it. I don't
even know if you can pick another team in conference. You probably need to go. You need to find a NFC team.
They got this there's a Kentucky to Buffalo pipeline. I might just have to go ahead and jump on it and take my shots. Eventually, time will heal everything, and it'll be forgotten. I'll get rid of this Dan Marino jersey. Actually, I can't do that. No, I can't get rid of it.
That'd be a shame. I will never get rid of my Larry Fitzgerald jersey. I know that.
Hey, but this is way off topic, but kind of because he was a Bill. Stevie Johnson said he's going to come on the show, quote, when the time is right. So I think hopefully maybe football season. But I went and saw him. He's doing this new IFL thing. He's got a team in San Diego. Got to talk with him a little bit. So that would be kind of cool to have him on the show.
What is the IFL? What's the IFL?
Indoor Football League.
I was going to ask if that was arena. So because when I played, my league was the PIFL. So I figured that was a similar.
Yeah. So the game was cool, to be honest. What was even cooler when I went, it was their first ever game, and it took a little bit. By the time the second half started, like the place, the stadium in San Diego is actually in Oceanside. Not very big, but it was packed out. But it was like a fucking party in there, man. Like it was a good there was a big time, I forget his name, but big time San Diego DJ in there. Like Stevie did it right. I will say, I think I got a drink, just got like a bourbon, and they like, it's gonna be $30. It's like,
yep. Don't forget $30. You are in the most expensive city in the country, so
we might need to work on that a little bit. Like, I mean, I get it, but you're gonna force me to get a plastic flask to put in my back pocket because there's zero chance I'm paying $30 for a drink, and not even like it was just like give me a Woodford on the rocks, and it's like golly. It will prevent you from going back and get another one. I guess that's
true. That's way to make sure everybody's sober on their way out.
Yeah, but it was just it was a cool atmosphere. I think it was the biggest part of it. He was doing like a live stream when he has a podcast too with somebody. But it was cool. And I think the coolest thing was you saw like they were introducing the team, and they had like the flyer and whatnot, the program. You had dudes that were straight out of college that were playing. Their quarterback was 38. 38 looked like he got straight off the couch. Looked like Ben Roethlisberger late in his prime, except more compact. Like not like just dumpy dude out there slinging it. So like you get all kinds out there playing ball.
You have with arena ball, because there's a ton of value, especially at the quarterback position, having someone who has played it before. And so an older dude probably 10 years ago or something, before arena ball kind of died for a while, probably played. Like, I remember when I played, our quarterback was a guy who had arena experience already, and you could tell with him compared to our other two backups, who were guys just straight out of college, just significant difference in the understanding of the nuance of arena ball, because it's significantly different than outdoor ball. Um,
Oh yeah.
so yeah, and that's probably why you were seeing that mix, particularly at quarterback. They went and found a guy who probably had some arena experience somewhere, because it makes a big
Well, I remember
difference.
what I remember, or what I would think is the prime of arena ball. I was in Orlando, and the Predators and Tampa Bay Storm were like the teams in arena league. That the Predators had like multiple championships, and Gruden, what's baby Gruden's first name? John, and but it doesn't matter. But like he was the coach of the Redskins. Oh, I don't think I can say that anymore. The Washington for the
Well,
Commanders.
he was the Redskins coach, right? They were not the
Yeah.
Commanders at the time when he
Okay.
coached them.
Yeah.
They were the Redskins. So
Anyways, so he was like the quarterback. Then he became the coach, and then he became the OC, and then in the NFL and whatever. But those games were awesome, man. Like that.
Jay Gruden.
Jay Gruden, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, they like those were awesome games, and I was in Tampa, and the Storm had tryouts, and it was just you paid to get on the field, and they watched you. Um, and I submitted my stuff to the captain, who was the MOI at the time, and they said zero effing chance, man. Absolutely not. I don't know if I had any shot, but I just thought it would have been cool to kind of get out there and just kind of play around a little bit.
They were
But
really
yeah, arena
good.
ball
Jaws had if you're Ron
in
Jaworski,
Philly,
his
yeah,
team up Philly was really good. One of my teammates actually went to go play for them. One of my arena ball teammates, he moved on up to the big boy arena ball league, because
yeah,
he was an outstanding receiver. He played at Samford in Alabama. And then I think Arizona, their team was really good too. So Arizona was good, Orlando and Tampa, and then Philly and Chicago. I might have been sprinkled in there a year or two. But yeah, the Arena League, the AFL, it was a pretty strong league. Um, my league, the PIFL, we were a little minor league. I would 2A at best, probably single A in all reality. But it was still fun. My favorite thing, because you're on, at least we were on a hockey rink that they just slapped some carpet over top of, and we're like, there's your football field. But so the wall was basically the same wall that the hockey players use, and so the fans are just on the other side of the wall.
yeah.
So you just got like this much space between you and the fans, and so the away games were so fun to me. I think in a fun way, the most hostile one we played was up in Richmond. I don't even remember the team's name, but man, they were getting at me. I was getting at them. All in fun. So I think arena has its place in the football world. They're smart not to try to compete during NFL season time. Um, it's cheaper for a fan, fun experience, easier to interact with players. So I hope the IFL can continue to do some things. I think To played in the IFL, if I remember correctly.
Really,
Yes, I'm gonna look it up. I'm
yeah.
pretty
With
pretty certain.
and they've had though, like there was the fan football league where like the fan got to like choose the plays, and like there's been like other things that have tried to exist. But yeah, I think I agree. Like it's an exciting form. Just the just watching. It's like a Canadian football league esque where you can receivers can kind of get downhill before the line of
Yeah,
snap.
that's called the
Um,
waggle motion.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I think you can get two moving towards the line of scrimmage at one time. I don't know. It just and for somebody who at best was a 4.54 guy, you need all the extra momentum you can get. So like I'm saying like that's where I should have lived right there. That's where I should have lived. But you know, another
Yeah,
regret
so
of
he
my life.
played he played for the Texas Revolution, uh, the Champions Indoor Football League, and then he played for the FCF Zappers, who were the fan football league that you were talking about,
Yeah,
which apparently Dalvin Cook owns parts of that. So yeah, he did. He did. I like that. T.O. was like, you know what? I just want to keep playing, so I'll go play.
Yeah, shit, why not?
That's cool.
He don't need the
All
money.
right.
He's just doing
No,
it for fun.
just it's fun to play. All that. All right. I gotta switch it because we're coming up on the hour. We gotta talk about it.
Adidas.
Tennessee talking about going to
Yep.
Adidas.
We're not
So
talking about, right? It's happening, right?
from everything I'm seeing, it's happening. It's not set in stone from what I've seen so far, but yeah, the tea leaves say it's happening.
Yep.
Um, so they say Nike, our contract with Nike's coming up. They said Nike lowballed us. Adidas, I think they listened to a pitch from Under Armour as well. Uh, Nike came in with like 10-year, $200 million offer. We're going to make Tennessee the face of Adidas college football, all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, in this day and age where you got to pay, like this is a way to generate revenue that if Nike's not going to pay, I guess you cannot say no to $200 million.
Do you know what
So,
Nike was, or they just said it was low?
all I've seen is that it was low. I don't know what it was. They were joking on the radio. They're like, man, Nike probably tried to tell us to pay, just being
Yeah.
disrespectful.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful because this I forgot when we stopped with Adidas. I don't know if it was like 2013 or what it was. Um, at the end, Adidas had us looking terrible, like absolutely terrible. Nobody liked it. Um, but this is 2025, right? There's new technology, there's new designs, new styles. If you are going to make us the face of your brand's this part of your brand, college football, then we get a lot of effort, all that. I don't think we were that back when we were with them last time. It was probably Nebraska or whoever.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful. Now that being said, I don't see anybody on the field looking good wearing Adidas except for maybe Miami. They do okay with Miami, but like Texas A&M looks bad to me. Nebraska looks bad to me. I don't even know who else has Adidas.
You
So,
remember the alternate jersey they rolled out for A&M last year? I
oh yeah,
mean,
A&M looks terrible.
gross. Yeah.
And they make it difficult because it's a tough color scheme to work with. Um,
Yeah.
because Mississippi State is Adidas too, right? But they are
Yes.
not. They're a similar color scheme to Texas A&M, and they don't look so ridiculous because they're like, look, just keep it simple. Texas
Yeah.
A&M try to do too much. So anyway, and from my understanding of how this works, Tennessee actually gets to design the uniforms, and then Adidas just kind of like partners with them to make it and all that. So I'm hopeful. My expectations are not high. Um, but I will reserve judgment until I see what the on field product looks like. Um, and then the big concern is, does this turn off recruits and all that? And I think back in 2013 maybe it did. I don't think it matters as much now because what matters now is how much you're going to pay them. So if you got
Which is, yeah, that's true. And what you
if
also have
you
to do is, I know you don't have anybody like we were joking about Louisville and like poverty program. They had Adidas for a long time. Like that's what they had it. And if you ask Kenny Payne, like he was a Nike guy. He went to Adidas, and that was his recruitment struggle. I think he just sucked. But that's not the point. Um, what you got to do is, I mean, unless I'm mistaken, I don't think you have any Tennessee athletes that are like tied to Adidas right now.
like in a professional league,
Yeah,
I mean, if they are, I'm not aware of it.
yeah,
It's
but
quite
like
possible.
Louisville's got Spider out there is sponsored by Adidas, right? So he can fund them with a bunch of stuff. Um, which I think what you got to do is some of these. So you do have big names who are sponsored by Adidas. So you figure out how to get Tennessee official exclusive Anthony
Sure.
Edwards PEs and stuff like that, right? To get them in there, and like Kentucky has with Kobe, and Duke has with Kobe, and they're like the Mamba schools and whatnot. Like that's a big draw. Um, these guys are holding up special edition sneakers from them, Jumpman for Florida and those sort of things. Um, you try to find these Adidas athletes who can come in there and help push that thing too. I think that might help. Um,
Yeah, I think that'd be a great way to go about it.
But yeah, it is funny because the reason why I asked you about like, do you know the difference is I think naturally you are going to when it comes like say Adidas offered you 200 million over 10 years and Nike offered you 150 million over 10 years, you probably make that 50 million up and some in extra revenue with Nike product than you do over Adidas product because Adidas is still really a soccer thing, right? For like Adidas is known globally for soccer. Nike
Yes.
has kind of a market in football and basketball, mostly basketball because of their ties to Jordan and LeBron and KD and big names like that. So but yeah, it was something I didn't. I mean, I guess I didn't pay attention to y'all's contracts and whatnot, but caught me off guard. And then once I saw you were bothered by it, I was like, oh, I have to jab at it a little bit.
I'm nervous, man. I thought we were looking so bad at the end. Now we did win our national championship in Adidas, so maybe maybe we can bring some of that magic back. Um, but we'll see. Now Danny White has been a terrific athletic director since he's come over from UCF, so he hadn't steered us wrong yet. So I'm just going to keep putting the faith in him that he'll keep us on the right path. But yeah, expectations are not high for me in all honesty. But I'll reserve final judgment for the on field product. But I am nervous.
I mean, you do have there is a way to play the pinstripe pants with the Adidas three stripe thing. I mean, there's ways to play it. There's ways to play it, I guess.
They tried that mess.
You're not sold, I can tell.
Nah, they tried that mess before. Uh, yeah, I'm about to do some research. I don't even in the NBA. I mean, Adidas tries, and they get some of the right people. Like Anthony Edwards is an Adidas guy, which is I think huge for them as a future face.
Mitchell.
Donovan Mitchell, Trey Young.
Oh, I forgot
So,
about Trey Young. Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know how. But Oklahoma is a Jordan school now, so Trey Young's not gonna he's not gonna usurp that. But we don't have anything in particular at Tennessee, so yeah. Problem is we don't have any stars in the NBA. We got some guys in the NFL, but no NBA
Yeah.
stars. Tobias
And
Harris
even
past
like
his prime.
even Shea being a Converse dude, like that's really Nike, right? Like
Yeah,
that is owned by Nike now. So it's like
yeah.
he'll eventually find his way now. Converse will run up. He will find himself under Nike because he's a big name now. But yep, that is what. Well, you mentioned athletic directors. Next time we do this, I think the show is going to be recorded. I don't think it's going to be live. Just out of respect, because we'll have some Q&A and be able to let him clear it up. But Dwayne Peavy come on the show. Former, he had multiple jobs at University of Kentucky for over a decade in the athletic department. Ended his time with in charge of day-to-day operations for all sports, revenue sharing sports. So pretty cool that he's gonna come on the show. Looking forward to chat with him. And as always, we got to talk about him being a guy pre-NIL. We got to talk about him, how he's working with at DePaul right now with the NIL era. His time at Kentucky. I got to look up his record over his 12-year period against Tennessee since you're going to be on there. But definitely have to lead with that.
What,
but yeah, man, I
what
think
record in what? Just all time record, like in all sports?
yeah, we have to look up like the big sport. What we got? We got football, basketball, baseball. What else we want? We want to include soccer. I don't know. Rifle, gymnastics. I don't know. We'll see.
Hey,
Um,
swimming,
yeah.
track and field.
Track and field. Yeah.
I mean,
Kentucky's
y'all got to
smoking right now
go.
in track and
Yeah,
field.
y'all and y'all have a greatest of all time from
Yeah.
Kentucky with Sydney.
Yeah.
So, but now
It's,
we got an Olympic gold medalist sprinter with Justin Gatlin. So don't sleep. And then Christian Coleman. So we both our guys are dopers, but whatever.
yeah. Yeah. Well,
I
I'm
still support
I'm
him.
looking over our notes right now. We didn't get to Braden Hawthorne, who was the latest recruit for Kentucky, but we'll get into him next time. Another massive gift for Pope, trying to get a top recruit to be in like the 14 slot. Curious how he ended up selling that. Real quick, Jalen Lowe is out of the draft. He is back at Kentucky officially. We're still waiting the word on Ortega. Everybody says it's happening. I believe it when I see it. I'm still super nervous, but he's not really projected on any draft boards right now. Everybody said he had a great showing at the combine, did really, really well, but hitching his shot still needs to come work. And I think a big part of it is apparently his NIL money at Kentucky is like outrageous. Like reports of $4 million, which is only over 1 year, but compared to a multi-year NBA contract and fighting for the G League probably makes the most sense. So all the tea leaves say he's coming back. And if he does, I think we're a preseason top 5 team. Easy. We'll see how all the stuff meshes, but excited for next basketball season. But yeah, man, really excited to have Dwayne Peavy on the show. We'll talk next year, and I think after that we started leaning into football. Unfortunately, for me.
Who knows what it's gonna look like for Tennessee? I'm about to be out there with who knows who at quarterback and Adidas. So things are not looking up, but I'm still all ball.
Yeah, so. And we're leaning on Zach from Incarnate World, who
Cam Ward
might be the next number 1 pick in the NFL draft. Who knows? But all right, brother. Hey, as always, good talking to you. Appreciate everybody jumping on. Go follow LUK Ball T-Step. T_step 30, I think is what it is. Finally, my guy is on Twitter. You liking the Twitter, man? I can see you're in it. You're hooked.
It's fun.
You hooked.
It's fun. Going back you can go back and forth with people pretty quickly. And it doesn't take long to figure out who's like really in their feelings about it and who's just having fun. So
you cannot take it seriously. People who attack it actually means something. If you're in your feelings, you're going to hate Twitter. If you can just have fun with it, it's a good time. I quickly learned that when the people were attacking me, you big dumb dipshit. I'm like, I will find you. It ain't that serious.
It's not. It's not. That's why I enjoy going back and forth with your boy Emmett. Like I'm not bothered by it. I love it.
Yeah, but go follow at Border Rivals HPS, and then we got also it's down there on the ticker, the YouTube channel. That's where we're going to end up posting that YouTube and Spotify. Our little interview with athletic director of DePaul, Dwayne Peavy. As always, go Cats.